Hello friends, welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be designing a lined vertical planner layout in my health and fitness planner, so come play with me. And I've got some stat stickers here, ready to go, along with some cardstock paper that I'll use, this Happy Planner sticker book, and these Planning Things sticker books, which I'll pull from. Okay, so for this week's spread, I was inspired by a really cute spread I saw on Instagram. Had a Christmas winter theme, and I thought it would be kind of fun to do something similar here for fall in my vertical planner. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is set up my stat stickers, just because I know I'm going to need a place for those, and I'm thinking to have them here at the top, just nestled below the top box. So we're going to drop those in. And then I'm going to start looking for how I'm going to create the background scenery for my design here using this cardstock. So I'm just going to rip some of the paper, kind of create a hillscape, if you will, and see how that can come together. Oops. I got a little carried away trying to cut the paper and just snapped off those stat stickers real quick. Go back here and adjust the paper, kind of fit it in between the 7 days of the week here, and lay out just a bit of space for a valley and a hillside, maybe two hillsides here. I have to be careful not to take up too much room in the space above, just because there's going to be some stickers on top of this, and I also need to have space to put in my food log, so just going to try to think about that, not put it too high up, and maybe do some layering with some of these extra pieces here as well to create, like I said, more of a scene. So I just took that scrap piece of paper that I had pulled off earlier and trimmed it down to fit the space nestled between those two hillsides. And now I'll start laying in the trees for my scene. I looked for some houses that I thought were going to work maybe here as well, but I couldn't find any that really worked. I do have the Autumn Houses and Trees sticker book from Finalizing, which I'm using actually here for some of these items, but the houses in there were kind of set up with a watercolor background to them, the ones that I was thinking to use. So I just couldn't find one that had the right vibe for the scenery. But I think it'll still look good. It's just kind of like a hillside with some fall color. So we're going to work with that. I did find these mountain stickers in that sticker book and put them in where I think there's like a little valley. So I think that'll be nice, kind of a background of mountains since they're a little bit snow-topped, and give that illusion of something in the distance. I'm also going to layer in some of these trees, both on top of the mountains and then in and amongst them. So I'm putting the smaller trees on the back mountains so that, again, it kind of gives you that idea of distance. And then the larger trees I'm bringing closer to you on that like smaller hill with the white border. Again, creating the depth, and then maybe even some on top of that are even larger to really give you the feeling that things are getting bigger as they get closer to you. So I've dropped in a few of the trees so far, and I'm just trying to mix them up. One thing that is a little bit tricky, because these are clear stickers, I am trying not to layer anything where there's a real sharp edge where the tree leaves cut over, like across the mountain, if you will. So, for example, the one I just dropped in that is laying on top of the white border and onto the back mountain, that may need to change. We'll see, since it is such a light tree. let's go ahead and grab a quote from the Happy Planner sticker book. And I like this trust yourself one for that. I also have a tree that I dropped in, which I think looks really nice actually with that quote. So we'll go ahead and go with that. I also found these long boxes there in the Plananything sticker book, which I think will be nice as a way to add a little bit more color and then also create a space for tracking my workouts. So I'll maybe layer them. I haven't quite figured out exactly yet how I want to put them in, but I do like this long box idea. I'm also going to go ahead and maybe replace out this long box for a lighter color that matches actually the hillside. I was just feeling like the orange and the black was a little too Halloween, so I decided to replace out those boxes, and I think that will look a lot nicer. Also, it will have that repetition of color, which should work out well. The only thing is that I don't have quite enough box to fill all 7 days, so I'm trying to figure out the best way to manage that. I did grab a smaller box in that same color and thought maybe I would layer it on the sidebar, but I'm going to set it aside because I may need it to extend the long boxes a bit. Since I have, I think, a pretty good idea of where things are going to go for now, let's go ahead and start gluing things down. I just grabbed out my glue stick and I'm going to start by gluing down this loose piece that's layered on top, and then this other little nubbin here that I'm putting in the corner. I don't know if this was the best technique, but it ended up working out really well. So if it works, don't fix it, right? I did want to see how this might look with the boxes layered on the bottom of the mountain so that they would be higher up on the spread, which I think would also be a good look. But I think I'm just going to go with the bottom decor and work with it pretty much how I had it on the spread originally. So I'm dropping in the stat stickers now, and I'm going to push those up pretty much to the top of the top box. That will give me a little bit of space below them, and then I'll just layer that long box over top, right butted up against the bottom of those stat stickers, winning me a few more lines of space below for my food log. This month I started to track my calories and also my macros for my meals, so I do need a bit more space than I have in the past. Therefore, I really do need to maximize the space on the spread so that I can get all of the information in that I need to keep track of. And I started in by gluing down just this one side, and I think I'll trim it to the page edge. I've made sure to overlap that bottom piece that actually is already pre-cut just a little bit so that I can make sure that nothing is missed as far as being layered on the page, or, not shorting it, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, although I pre-cut it a little bit just so I can get a better feel for the alignment. And now I'm going to use my scissors to trim off the excess. And it looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and also prep these long boxes for how I envision, which is, like I said, kind of like a long strip of color for my workouts to be tracked. And I'm dropping those in. As you can see, we are short. So let's go ahead and try to make this guy fit the space. Drop that in. Still a little short though, just a little inconvenient. We do have a tiny nubbin over here that I can maybe pull in, so we'll try and add that as well. And we're still just a smidge short, but I think I can kind of fudge it with a little bit of ingenuity here, just kind of whiting out the lines there in the background. And then also reusing those scraps to unify the strip a bit and make that look like one long piece. I think that worked. I'm happy with the result. So let's go ahead and start moving in the sidebar. Going to drop in the trees first and then go to the quote. Just going to align it basically with the bottom of that top box. That'll give a nice symmetry. And then trim off any excess. Next, we're going to slide in this mountain range into the background here. I did set the glue only on the bottom on this one side so that I would have a little bit of play here for tucking in these mountains. I do have some layering here that I need to get rid of, so I'll drop in the mountains first and then lay the trees on top of it after the fact. This is a little bit tricky because it's glued down a bit more than the other side, so I'm going to cut it first and then move the slight piece there, just kind of tuck it in behind that cardstock. Let's go ahead and start moving over the trees. I definitely could have added more trees. I think I may even add more trees later down the road. It is nice to have just a smattering of trees, but I do like the idea of a full kind of like a forest of fall color. So I am going to make some adjustments and move some things around. But yeah, maybe even after the fact, after I'm done, I may add some more in if I can, just to give it a little bit more of a fullness. Again, really trying to stick with the smaller trees in the back and the larger trees as you get towards the bottom, which is actually supposed to look closer to you. I am making some adjustments on the fly. Also, again, thinking about how much vertical space I'm taking up, so I have plenty of room for that food log and tracking my calories and macros. We're looking good, although this tree was a little bit awkward now that I'd moved some things around, so I'm going to replace it with something a little bit darker and a little bit more full, and then maybe find a new home for it or replace it with something else. And I do like this bushel of different trees clustered together. I am going to cut it apart just to give it a little bit more of a variety so it doesn't look just like the one that's in the sidebar. And we'll drop that in and trim things out, see how that looks. I'm liking this. And just going to glue down those edges that I didn't have glued before. Oh, that looks good. Pushing down the stickers. The last step will be to actually punch out those covered holes. So for the cardstock areas, I'm going to use my power punch, but then each one also has one hole that's covered just with sticker, which I'll cut out manually. Just is a little bit easier than using the punch. And then basically once I am done with that, you guys, we will be done, friends. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye.